what's everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be taking a look at the Transformers Selects Legacy lift ticket. Here he is, and I think he looks really cool in his truck mode. Here's the brand new Legacy style packaging for the Selects line, and I think it's much better than the old Selects packaging. It's just a spray paint Autobot symbol. I think it was cool at first, but of course we had a lot of those boxes that were getting very plain and outdated. I think this looks really cool. I really do like how it's specialized to all the characters of the Selects line. I think it looks really cool. Really nice shot of lift ticket there and the nice new Legacy logo with Transformers above it. We have a lot of really cool angles and lines there. I think that looks really cool. On the side we have his arm and shoulder and his Autobot symbol there. Looks pretty cool. On the back, pretty plain. On the other side, just some rights and stuff like that. And here we have lift tickets, and that's pretty much it for the packaging. I think overall that looks really cool. Really looking forward to some more Legacy Selects figures to see the really cool packaging. So I think that's pretty much it for the beginning intro and stuff. Let's get into the lift ticket in his truck mode. I think he looks very cool. Let's take a look at the details. So starting off on the side, we have some nice silver for the tires, some black for the main tire section. We have the word Wrecker done in white. We have the nice kind of caution tape style detail with the black and yellow stripes done on the side. It's also on the other side, which I will show in just a second. We do have this kind of yellow hodgepodge on the back of the truck. There is an alternative use for this rather than just kind of having it sit here. There is a really cool ramp feature where you can get a Battlemaster and attach it to it. I will show that in just a second. We do have this really cool projector or light piece here done in gray. On the front side, we have some more blue for the windows. We do have a nice Autobot symbol on the hood. We have some more silver for the grille section, along with some blue headlights there. And of course, on the other side, that same detail done quite nice. The truck does roll quite well. This is a cloth surface, so there is a little bit of grab, but overall, rolls pretty well for a cute little mechanical truck. So let's move on to the features / accessories. Let's start with the accessories. So he does come with this really cool little water cannon here. I think it looks pretty good. So storage-wise for this, you can just kind of plug it in onto the side. The same, of course, for the other side. There's that same little port there. You can also plug it into the mushroom peg. I'm not sure if that was a designed use for it, but it does work, so quite cool. That's really the only two ways you can really store it. Of course, you could move this and kind of put it there. It doesn't really sit very well, but there is a port there if you want to do it. I typically just kind of plug it in onto the side right here. I think that looks pretty good, in my opinion. Of course, you could have him charging in a battle in his truck mode, shooting, bullets and really cool stuff. That looks pretty cool. So, very nice. Moving on to a feature of this truck mode, what you're going to want to do is move these little pieces out. Then you're going to get this piece here, and it's on a little railing system, as you can see, and you're just going to bring that down to the bottom section there. Then you can bring this section back, bring these pieces back, just like that, and there you have the ramp piece. And now what you're going to want to do is just get a Battlemaster, any one. I'm just going to grab Sound Barrier here, and as you can see, these two sections can connect to form a longer ramp, of course, which you could connect to Omega Supreme, Scorponok, a ton of them. I think that looks pretty cool, in my opinion. I do like how they kept that feature. Of course, the other two versions of this mold, Hoist and Trailbreaker, can do those the same feature. So, very nice. Of course, matching color-wise doesn't really work. This is more of blue. Of course, this is yellow, but still makes a pretty cool-looking bridge. So, overall, a pretty cool feature. And of course you can just separate that. It is a little bit of a fiddly sort of thing, not really easy, but disconnected it, so very cool. And of course, if you want to go back to the standard form, you just bring this piece out, get this little ramp section, bring that in, and then you can just move these little flat pieces back. And here's the typical truck form, of course, without the accessories. So now, I'm going to put the accessory back on, and then we're going to get into comparisons. So let me just plug this back on. And now let's get into some comparisons with the previous two versions of this mold. So here he is with the original. Here he is with Hoist. This is, I think, from Wave 1 of Earthrise. And Trailbreaker here is, I think, from Wave 3 of Earthrise. So very, very nice. As you can see, and structure-wise, they're all quite similar, really just down to a few paint apps, of course, and some new modified accessories. So a Trailbreaker here, of course, as you can see, his accessory is completely different between these two. Also, he has this new added back section there, so I think that's pretty cool. It actually does become a shield in the robot mode, so very, very nice. But of course, between these two, they're pretty much the exact same thing. He does have some added brushwork on the hood here, but of course Lift Ticket does not. But the accessory is the same, just a different paint app. The mold is the same. Head sculpt is pretty much the same. We'll get into that, of course, whenever he's in robot mode. But as you can see, they're quite all very, very similar. Really just, these two don't have brushwork, this one does, and he does have a slightly different accessory on top of the truck there, and a new shield. But overall, they do look very, very cool. Cute little trucks. Let me know which one you like between these three. I think probably my favorite is probably Lift Ticket. That could just be sort of a, you know, weird opinion. I did just get the figure, and I do tend to like the figure I just got the most, and it could, of course, change over time, in my opinion, but who knows. I think right now, definitely this one is my favorite, just because I really do like that nice caution tape look with the wrecker there, and the really nice blue and red mixture. I think that's very, very cool. But overall, three very cool figures. Highly recommend them. So yeah, very, very nice. So I'm just going to move these off to the side, like that. And yeah, overall, a cute little truck. So now let's get into transformation. I do apologize just ahead of time. Some parts of this transformation are a little bit messy and hard to see, so I will try to go as slow as possible, try and have it as clear as possible. Let's get right into it. So we're going to start kind of disconnecting some stuff in the back. So you're going to disconnect this section here. It's just connected into the leg, so there is a tab and a slot right there. Of course, do the same thing on the other side. Just disconnect that whole section there. Sometimes you just got to pry it apart with your nail there. There we go. And there is also a tab here that's connected into this main yellow section there, which then you can, once this is disconnected here, you can just bring this whole section up, and there is more tabs here. So there is a tab and a tab, and a slot and a slot. Then this will just kind of move up like that, and there we go. And now that everything is kind of disconnected, you can unravel the legs. You can just go in here, unravel that leg there, unravel that leg there. As you can see, there is two tabs and two slots in there. Hopefully you can see that, and there we go. And now we can just kind of move this section like that. We can now go to the front, and you're going to just move this hood section. As you can see, there is slots and tabs on that hood section that keep it together. Then you can bring this whole section out, just like that. And there we go. And then, as you can see, this waist section here is connected to this piece. You can untab that, just like that. And there we go. Make sure it is secure like that. And then, you're going to get this tab and this slot, and that will just tab into place, just like this. Make sure it's in that little groove there. There is a little groove for the hood to fit inside, just like that. And then we're going to move the camera up just a tad bit so you can see what I'm doing. So we're going to rotate this here, bring the arm down, and turn it like that. Do the same thing, of course, with the other side. Just position the arms slightly neutral. We can then bring this section down. You can just pop the head through and just rotate it, of course, so you can see it. Then you can bring this up, and there is a tab, and it will just go into the slot right here. Tab it into place, and then just kind of straighten everything out. You're going to want to have this little light piece face up. Get these little wing pieces, face them up as well. Of course, you could angle them just like this. I usually just have them straight up. And here is Lift Ticket's in his robot mode, and I think he looks pretty good. I'm just going to neaten him up a little bit more, and then we'll take a look at the details and some. Here is Lift Ticket in his robot mode, and I think he looks very cool. Let's take a look at the details. So we're going to start at the top. So for the head here, we do have some silver for the mouthpiece. I do apologize if it's a little bit kind of distorted. It's kind of bouncing off with the light with the silver, so I do apologize about that. We do have some yellow for the visor, some red for the main helmet section. We have some gray for that light piece. We do have some more yellow for these little wing pieces. For the main shoulder section, this little piece here, it's mostly red, some gray for the lower arm, some more red for the hand. Of course, same for the other side. For the chest here, we have some nice blue for that window, some more red and white for the out of that symbol and the chest piece. We do have that caution tape detailing on the side there. I think that looks pretty good. We do actually have the wheels visible, which I think is pretty cool as well. We do have the main grille section still visible, which is pretty cool. We do have some yellow for the top of the legs. We do have some gray for the lower part, and some more yellow there. We have some nice silver and kind of mechanical detailing there. I think that looks pretty good. Some more red for the feet. The wheels are still visible on the side as well. I think that looks pretty cool. And on the back, we do have that main ramp section still visible. And we do have a little bit of gaps here and there. But overall, I think this figure does fill up quite nicely. Overall, a very, very cool looking figure. So, getting into one thing I have not mentioned yet. So, of course, if you saw a news video recently about this figure, there was a listing on eBay about this figure, and he had a manufacturing kind of defect or stress mark problem, and it was on the higher part of the leg. It was on this side. Of course, he had like 6 copies, and he opened 3 of them. And those all had that problem. Of course, this one does not. So I do want to mention again, I do recommend to get this figure. Do not be cautious or worried, of course. I think that was just really a small problem. I guess you could maybe get a figure with that problem. It was a very small stress mark, so it really just depends on how picky you are with your figures. I'm pretty picky. I want them to be pretty much absolutely perfect. I do wanted to mention this again, just for you to know that it is a possibility of it happening. I don't think it's a very big possibility, but it could happen. So just want to let you know about that. But overall, a very cool looking figure. No problems of stress mark wise that I've seen yet, so I wouldn't be too worried. So now moving on to the accessory implementation. So of course you could just plug it onto these ports there, but I typically just get his arm and just have a good grip on it, and you can just get that peg and put it all in place. I do not fully put it in his arm because it's kind of hard to wiggle out after, so I just kind of slightly put it in there on that peg because that peg is quite long. And here he has this really cool kind of cannon. You could say it's a water cannon because he does resemble sort of a fire truck in his truck mode, so that's pretty cool in my opinion. Again, you could put it on the other arm or those other ports that I showed you before, so very nice. So I'm just going to go to the side, and I'm going to grab those other 2 versions of this mold, and we'll get a comparison. Here he is with hoist, trailbreaker, and of course lift tickets. So let's just do a quick comparison between just these 2 figures here, hoist and lift tickets. As you can see, the accessory is the same sculpt, just silver on this one and orange on that one. They both do have these little wings on the back and that little light piece right behind their head. And down to the head sculpt, it's the exact same sculpt, just a different paint app. The arms, the legs, the chest, all the same. But as you can see, the Autobot symbols are slightly different. This is more of a darker red. This is outlined in white and a little bit smaller. I think this is a little bit bigger on that one. I think it is a little bit bigger also on the Trailbreaker figure as well. Now getting between, of course, these 2 figures and Trailbreaker here, he does have quite a bit of new added pieces to him. So he does have a new accessory different from, of course, hoist and lift ticket here. He does have this really cool new blocky, a little bit more pointed design there. He does have this new added little missile piece on there. Of course, his light piece is the same sculpt, but it is more off to the side than in the middle like these 2 figures. Of course, a brand new head sculpt. And he does have a new added shield piece on the back, and these other 2 figures do not. But if you took that off, you could probably barely tell a difference. But of course, he does not have those little wing pieces on the back like these 2 figures do. But yeah, a lot of similarities with the chest, the arms, and the legs. A lot of similarities. Just a few little minor details here and there that do tell them apart. Let me know which one you like between these 3 in the comments below. Which one is your least favorite? My favorite probably is Lift Ticket right in the middle. I think he just looks really cool with that nice gray, yellow, and red mixture. I think that looks really cool. I also do like that kind of caution tape design that's on his truck, and it says Wrecker. I think that looks very cool. So let's get these out of the way, and then we're going to get into articulation, then final thoughts. So for articulation, let's just get right into it. We're going to start at the top. So if we just move the little light piece out of the way, the head can rotate all the way around on a ball joint like that. It can look up, it can look down, so pretty good. For the arms, it can rotate all the way around. And of course it can move out, and there is a swivel There is an elbow joint, and of course it can also swivel the hand, but it's very tight, so I'm not going to do that. Of course, same for the other arm, but for this little back section here, these little wing pieces can kind of move to your desire, so you can have them more moved out like that, a little bit more of a angular, more moving design. Of course, you could compress this little light piece and move it back if you wanted to, but I typically leave it out. For the waist, it can rotate like that. Unfortunately, this little section here does get in the way. If you untab it, you could get better articulation, but if you just leave it how it is, it can only rock back and forth like that. For the legs, they can kick that far forward, that far back, and of course there is a swivel. There is a double joint here and here, so pretty good. And of course there is an ankle pivot. And of course he can also do these splits. So yeah, pretty good articulation for this figure. I think that pretty much wraps up this review, so let's get into the final thoughts, and that will be it. Getting into the final thoughts with the robot mode, I think it overall is a really, really good figure. I really do like the mixture of the silver, the red, and the gray, and the yellow. I think it looks really, really good. The cannon, very, very simple, just done in silver. There is some yellow on the inside, but I think overall looks very, very good. Just some advice, do not plug it in the hand all the way. It's a very, very long peg, and it's kind of a pain to get it out whenever you want to transform it, so just put it in there halfway, just to save yourself some pain, and some time to wiggle it back and forth. So just put it partially in there like I'm doing right now. Articulation overall very good for the head, the legs, the arms, the waist, not so much. If you want to untab the little back piece, you can. That will allow for greater range of motion, but of course, just as the standard look, it's just really a rock back and forth, and I think that looks fine. Transformation is overall quite simple. Of course, we've done it before with Trail Breaker and Hoist, so nothing crazy. I really do like the truck. I really do like how the cannon is stored. You can just store it onto the side. For some reason, you can store it onto the tire. I'm not sure if that was designed to do that, but you can if you want to. I think it rolls pretty good. I really do like the texturing on the tires, the little grades and, little areas of gaps. I think that looks pretty good. Unfortunately, there is the mushroom peg of tire, of course. I do kind of wish the front tire matched the back one, but who knows, maybe they did that for some reason. I really do like the caution tape design on the side that says Wrecker. I think that looks pretty cool. I also do like how you can see it in the robot mode on the chest, and of course the little back pieces right there next to the arms. So overall, a very, very good figure. Waist articulation could be better, but honestly not a major complaint. I am very, very glad that there is no big problem with the legs, with the stress mark problem, of course, because a while back I did a video on this figure, and there was a stress mark problem on several copies that I had seen and found on eBay, and, of course, I didn't buy it, of course. I didn't want a stress mark on it. So, yeah, I'm really glad this does not have that problem. Is this a widespread problem? I do not know. Of course, this guy bought 6 of them. He opened 3, and 3 of them were that way. I have not been in contact with him for a while, so I do not know if he opened those other 3. I'm assuming he didn't and just sent them back. So I just would advise caution when getting it. Just make sure there is no stress marks on it, and if there is, of course, send it back and get another one, because I just bought one and it was perfectly fine. So I have no idea what happened with those 3. Maybe it was just some shipping problem. They were, moved around too much, and, they weren't packaged very well. Who knows? But if you want to know where the stress mark was, it was just at the top of the leg, on this leg right there. Of course, not saying that those other copies could have it on a different area, like an arm or anything, but that's where it was, and was on the top of the leg. So just look out for that. Overall, a really, really good figure. Highly suggest to get this figure. I really do like the new added packaging, and I think that's pretty much it. So hope you enjoyed this review, and I'll see you next time.